When a man is drawn to you, there are signs that slip through no matter how hard he tries to keep them hidden. His body speaks before his words catch up, revealing what's on his mind and in his heart. You'll notice it in the way he can't help but tease you, his words dancing on that line between playful and meaningful. Teasing isn't meant to hurt. It's his way of bringing laughter into the space between you, testing if you'll tease back, hoping to spark a connection that feels effortless and alive. You'll see it in the way he mirrors you, almost unconsciously leaning in when you do, folding his arms when you fold yours, picking up your phrases or tone. It's his instinctive attempt to find common ground, to silently say, "I feel comfortable with you. I belong in this moment with you." And even if he doesn't realize he's doing it, it shows just how deeply he's paying attention. Look at how he seeks your eyes in a crowded room, not just once, but again and again. It isn't just about attraction, it's about wanting to share small, silent conversations no one else can hear. Those lingering glances hold questions, compliments, and sometimes even quiet confessions he isn't ready to say out loud. Then there's the closeness. Watch how he finds excuses to be near you, sitting beside you, standing closer than necessary, brushing past your arm in passing. It isn't always bold, sometimes it's subtle, but it's there, like gravity pulling him toward you, because being near you simply feels better than standing apart. You might notice the nervous energy that slips through, the way his hand fidgets, his laugh comes too quickly, or his words tumble out when your eyes meet. This isn't weakness, it's the sign that his feelings run deeper than he wants to admit. Even the most confident men can lose their perfect composure when someone truly matters to them. Playful teasing reveals hidden attraction because it's a language of its own, a dance of words and glances that says far more than straightforward compliments ever could. It's light enough to keep the mood fun and effortless, yet charged enough to send a signal. I notice you, I'm comfortable around you, and I'm drawn to you. When a man teases you playfully, he's testing not just your sense of humor, but the connection between you, hoping to spark laughter, curiosity, and even a little bit of tension that makes your conversations memorable. It starts with small comments, perhaps about the way you always arrive 5 minutes late, the coffee you never finish, or the way you roll your eyes when he makes a bad joke. On the surface, these remarks seem trivial, but underneath lies the real message: I see you. I notice the details about you that others might overlook. Teasing is often built on these little observations because they prove he's paying attention, and that attention itself is an early sign of attraction. Playful teasing also creates shared moments. It builds an inside joke, a private world where only the two of you understand the reference or why something is funny. Each laugh becomes a brick in that small, intimate space you share. It's no longer just two people talking. It's two people writing a story together, line by line, teasing becoming the playful thread that ties those moments together. There's vulnerability hidden inside teasing, too. By joking with you, he risks that you might not laugh, might take offense, or might tease him back even harder. But when attraction is real, that risk feels worth it. Because teasing isn't about mocking, it's about inviting you to play. It asks, can we share this space where things aren't taken too seriously? Can we make each other smile? And when you tease back, you're saying yes, yes to the playfulness, yes to the connection, yes to the possibility that this lightness could deepen into something more. It's also a sign of comfort. At the beginning, when everything feels formal and careful, teasing rarely shows up. But as interest grows and nerves settle into familiarity, words come out more easily and humor finds its way in. Teasing becomes the bridge from polite conversation to genuine warmth, hinting that he feels relaxed enough to let go of rehearsed lines and reveal a bit of his real personality. Yet there's an unspoken balance to it. Teasing done right isn't about crossing lines or making you feel small. It's gentle, thoughtful, and sprinkled with affection rather than criticism. It might poke fun at your stubbornness, but then admire your strength in the same breath. It might tease you for forgetting your keys again, but offer to walk you home afterward. Hidden inside the words is care, a subtle way of saying, "I like you just as you are, flaws and all." Playful teasing also keeps attraction alive by creating tension, a kind that feels exciting rather than uncomfortable. It flirts with closeness, but leaves just enough space that you're both leaning forward, wanting more. It turns an ordinary conversation into a moment that feels different, charged, and alive with possibility. It makes your interactions memorable, so even when you're apart, those moments replay in your mind and likely in his, too. It's worth noticing how he teases. Does his tone stay light? Does he smile as he speaks? Does he watch your reaction to make sure you're enjoying it? A man whose attraction is genuine will never want to hurt you with his teasing. His words might be playful, but his eyes will be kind, and his laughter won't come at your expense. Instead, it will come from sharing something together, a small spark that feels both safe and thrilling. Teasing, in its best form, is an invitation to laugh, to flirt, to lower your guard, and to see what might grow when two people stop being so careful. It's a sign that attraction isn't just about admiring from afar, it's about wanting to step closer, to touch your world lightly and see how you respond. And while words of desire can be spoken directly, sometimes it's the teasing, those seemingly throwaway jokes and playful remarks that tell the real story. I'm drawn to you, I'm watching you, and more than anything, I hope you feel the same. Mirroring your body language and words shows subconscious connection because it's one of the most honest signals that someone feels drawn to you, a silent language that often speaks before the mind can catch up. It happens when attraction shifts from something intentional to something instinctive, when a man's desire to feel closer to you becomes so natural that even his posture, gestures, and words start to echo yours. He might not even notice he's doing it, but it's there, a quiet, physical sign of emotional alignment that can't be faked for long. It begins subtly. Maybe you cross your legs, and moments later, he does the same. You lean forward slightly, and he leans too. These small shifts don't happen because he's copying you on purpose. They happen because, in that moment, his body is searching for harmony with yours. It's as though being in sync physically creates a bridge toward being in sync emotionally. His subconscious mind is telling him, I like being where you are, and I want us to move together, to belong in the same rhythm. Mirroring isn't limited to posture alone. Notice his gestures if you use your hands when you speak. He may start to do the same, matching your energy without realizing it. If you smile, he may instinctively smile back, even before he understands why. Your laughter can spark his, not out of politeness, but because he feels genuinely pulled into your mood. These moments reveal that his attraction isn't purely on the surface. It's something that resonates deeper, where words fall away and connection takes over. The same thing happens with speech. Over time, you might hear your words, expressions, or phrases reflected back to you in his voice. If you say that's wild or seriously, often he might start doing it too. At first, it might seem funny or coincidental, but what it really shows is that he's been listening closely, that your words have made a home in his mind, becoming part of his language too. It's a sign of emotional closeness, a subtle way of telling you, I hear you, and what you say matters enough to stay with me. What makes mirroring so powerful is that it's unconscious. Anyone can rehearse words, memorize compliments, or act attentive for a while. But the body rarely lies for long. When someone genuinely feels drawn to you, their desire to connect seeps into everything, the way they stand, move, and speak. It's almost like their presence leans toward yours, pulled by an invisible string of curiosity and attraction. This subconscious alignment also builds comfort between you. When two people's gestures and tone begin to match, it creates a shared rhythm that feels safe and natural. It's why conversations flow better when you feel like someone is truly present. Their mirroring becomes an unspoken way of saying, "You and I, we're on the same page." It dissolves the walls we usually keep up with strangers, making space for trust to grow. Beyond attraction, mirroring signals empathy. It shows he's tuned into your mood, willing to adjust himself to keep the connection alive. If you're speaking quietly, he may lower his voice too. If you get animated telling a funny story, his expressions might become livelier. In doing so, he's meeting you where you are emotionally, instead of forcing you into his own pace or mood. This balance, often unspoken, deepens closeness far more than overt declarations ever could. The beauty of mirroring is that it can feel almost magical when you notice it. Those little moments when you lean in at the same time, when your laughter overlaps, or when your words flow in similar patterns feel like proof that something real is happening between you. Even if nothing has been said outright, the body's silent language quietly confirms what the heart suspects. And while it's lovely to notice, remember, mirroring isn't something to chase or perform, it's something to recognize. Its presence reveals sincerity because it can't be sustained by someone who doesn't truly care. Attraction may start it, but genuine connection keeps it going. When you see it in someone, when their gestures echo yours and your words come back in their voice, it's not just about desire. It's a deeper sign that this person isn't just interested in being near you, but in understanding and sharing your world. And sometimes that silent harmony says more than words ever could. Lingering eye contact speaks louder than words because it bypasses everything we prepare, polish, or pretend to be. It's the rawest, most honest signal of attraction and connection that two people can share without a single syllable passing between them. When a man holds your gaze a moment longer than necessary, he reveals far more than what he might be ready to admit aloud. His eyes become the silent messengers of desire, curiosity, vulnerability, and sometimes even hope. In those quiet seconds, so much can happen. You might feel your heart race, your breath catch, or your thoughts scatter. That's because lingering eye contact does something words rarely do. It collapses the space between you. It says, "I see you, not just your appearance, but the spark behind your eyes, the questions you don't voice, the warmth you carry." It's as if, for that small moment, the world shrinks to just two people and everything else falls away. It's different from a polite glance or casual scan across a room. Lingering eye contact is intentional, even if it happens subconsciously. It's that moment when his gaze doesn't drop immediately, when you catch each other looking and instead of turning away in embarrassment, the contact holds. You see the softness in his eyes, or the playful glint, or the quiet intensity that says there's something deeper he wants to share, but can't yet put into words. Often, this kind of gaze carries a question. Do you feel this too? It's as though he's reaching out silently, hoping you'll answer without either of you needing to speak. And when you do, when you meet his eyes and don't look away instantly, you're telling him, "Yes, I feel something too." It's an exchange more honest than any confession could be, because it comes before the mind has time to choose safer words or build protective walls. Lingering eye contact can also reveal nervousness, not just confidence. You might notice a softness in his gaze, or how his eyes dart away for a split second before coming back, as if he's battling the fear of being too exposed. That flicker shows vulnerability, the silent hope that you'll look back and see him, not just glance past. Far from weakness, this vulnerability is often where real intimacy begins, because it's the moment when desire becomes brave enough to risk being seen fully. Beyond attraction, eye contact builds trust. It tells you he's present, not distracted, and that he cares enough to really look, not just see. When a man meets your eyes during conversation, rather than scanning the room or checking his phone, it says, "Right now, nothing is more interesting than what you're saying." That presence, that steady gaze, creates a sense of safety that words alone can't match. Eye contact also becomes a conversation within the conversation. Sometimes, when words falter or laughter subsides, your eyes meet again, holding a question or an unspoken reassurance. It can soften an awkward moment, deepen a tender one, or spark laughter when you realize you're thinking the same thing. Through it all, it creates a quiet thread that ties you together. A reminder that beyond what's being said, there's something deeper happening underneath. Lingering eye contact can feel powerful because it requires courage. It's easier to look away, to pretend disinterest, or to keep things light and uninvested. But when someone chooses to look into your eyes and stay there, it's a choice to be emotionally open, even if just for a moment. It's as though he's saying, "Here I am without masks or games. Do you see me too?" And if you do, that silent exchange becomes a promise of something real, and it doesn't always happen in loud moments. Sometimes it's in the pauses, the lull in conversation, the quiet at the end of a joke, or the stillness after shared laughter. Those moments, free from distraction, are when his eyes truly find yours. They're fleeting but unforgettable because they feel so raw and unscripted. Lingering eye contact reminds us that words, while important, aren't the only language we speak. The eyes reveal what the heart feels before the mind decides what's safe to say. So when you catch someone's gaze and it holds, when it feels like time slows and something passes silently between you, know that it's not an accident. It's a glimpse of real desire, real curiosity, and perhaps the quiet beginning of something deeper than either of you expected. And often, that silent connection speaks in a language far more honest and intimate than words ever could. Seeking physical closeness is a quiet confession because, in moments when words feel too risky or revealing, the body speaks instead. It's often the first language of attraction, unfiltered and instinctive, saying, "I'm drawn to you. I feel safer near you. I want to feel your presence more deeply." Even the subtlest moves, a step closer in a crowded room, leaning in just a bit more during conversation, sitting beside you when there's space elsewhere, are gentle, unspoken admissions of longing that reveal far more than casual words ever could. You might notice how he positions himself almost without thinking. It isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's the way he drifts closer when you're speaking, as though hearing your words isn't enough. He wants to catch the warmth in your voice, the expression in your eyes, the small details that distance would hide. In those moments, closeness becomes a bridge between curiosity and connection, quietly inviting you to notice that he feels something he isn't ready to name out loud. Touch can appear even more softly. A light brush of the arm when handing you something, the brief meeting of knees under the table, or the gentle nudge when teasing. These gestures are small, but each carries weight because they break the invisible barrier most people keep between themselves and others. Choosing to cross that barrier isn't random, It's an act driven by wanting to be nearer, to share a private space that words can't quite reach. Sometimes, closeness shows up as protection, too. You might see it when he subtly moves closer in a crowded place, stands so you're shielded from the push and pull of strangers, or matches your pace on a walk so you don't get left behind. These actions seem practical, but underneath, they reveal a desire to care for you, to keep you within reach, not from obligation, but from genuine concern that grows from affection. What makes seeking closeness so revealing is that it's hard to fake for long. Anyone can say the right words, especially if they've learned what sounds charming, but the body acts on instinct, driven by feelings that haven't yet been filtered by caution or pride. When a man chooses to move closer, even in small ways, it's a confession he might not be ready to speak yet. I want you near because something in me feels incomplete without that. Closeness also builds comfort in both directions. When you feel his presence nearby, it can soften your own guard, making it easier to share thoughts you might otherwise keep hidden. In that shared space, laughter feels easier, silence feels less heavy, and vulnerability becomes possible because it feels like you're not facing it alone. That's why physical closeness, though subtle, often becomes the turning point where attraction begins to deepen into real intimacy. Even when words stumble or feel inadequate, proximity can say everything. I like being here. I choose to stay. And it matters even more because it's voluntary. He could stay at a polite distance, keep things light and safe, but he doesn't. Instead, he steps into your space not to overwhelm, but to quietly share it. It's an offering of presence, the kind that says, I'm here, and I hope you want me to stay. This quiet confession often comes with its own kind of vulnerability. Being closer means being more easily seen, flaws, nerves, hesitations, and all. Yet choosing to move closer despite that risk shows sincerity, the willingness to be known rather than just admired from afar. It reveals that his interest isn't purely about appearances or excitement. It's about wanting something real enough to risk being seen fully. Sometimes, closeness is the only answer when words might sound too bold. Instead of saying, I miss you when you're away, he sits beside you and lets the silence speak. Instead of saying, I want to be part of your world, he leans in during conversation, hoping you'll notice the care behind the gesture. These small moments create a shared language that words can't replace, a language of presence, warmth, and gentle honesty. When someone seeks to be near you, again and again, without needing to announce why, it's rarely casual. It's an unspoken wish to be part of your moments, to trade distance for closeness, and to turn interest into something quietly tangible. And while it may look simple from the outside, inside it carries the weight of hope, longing, and the first steps towards something deeper than either of you might have dared to say out loud. Nervous energy betrays deeper feelings because, while confidence can be practiced and smooth words can be rehearsed, genuine affection stirs something inside that even the most controlled person can't fully hide. When someone truly cares, their body reacts before their mind can edit it away. A voice that cracks slightly when saying your name, laughter that comes a beat too quickly, hands that fidget with a watch or tap lightly on a cup. These aren't signs of weakness. They're small windows into a heart that cares enough to be unsettled in your presence. What makes nervousness so telling is that it comes from wanting something to matter and fearing it might not be received the way one hopes. A man who doesn't care can stay perfectly composed. His words flow without pause because the stakes are low. But when you mean something to him, suddenly every word feels heavier, every pause feels longer, and every glance carries the silent hope that you'll see what he feels but can't quite say. It can show up in the way he prepares to speak, taking an extra breath or hesitating just before answering your question. It's there in the slight stiffness of posture, as though his body can't quite decide whether to lean back casually or lean closer to you. And sometimes it slips out in self-deprecating humor, filling silence not because he has nothing to say, but because silence feels too revealing, too honest, too full of what he's afraid to show. This nervousness isn't about lacking confidence altogether. Often it's a contrast. A man might be calm and charismatic in every other setting, but with you, his usual ease softens into something tender, even clumsy at times. That contrast reveals just how much your opinion matters to him. It says, "Your presence affects me in a way nothing else does." And in those small stumbles or unfinished sentences, there's a vulnerability that words alone could never express. Sometimes the energy shows up in overcompensation, talking faster than usual, telling stories a bit too animatedly, or making jokes that tumble over each other. It can feel like he's trying to keep momentum, so there's no room for silence, because silence might invite honesty his courage hasn't caught up to yet. Yet even in that rush, the truth shines through. He wants to impress you, to keep your interest, to be enough in your eyes. Look at the way he watches you too. Eyes that look away quickly when caught, only to drift back moments later. A glance that softens into a smile, then flickers away as if he caught himself feeling too much too soon. His gaze, when paired with nervous energy, becomes its own confession. "I see you, and it matters so much that it scares me." Touch can betray nervousness too. He might pick up his drink, put it down, and pick it up again. Adjust his sleeves, brush imaginary dust off his clothes, or run a hand through his hair more often than usual. These gestures aren't calculated. They're instinctive ways to manage the surge of emotion bubbling underneath. Every small, restless movement whispers that your nearness has shaken his practiced calm. Yet, what makes this nervous energy so endearing is that it comes from a place of care, not from doubt about you. He isn't nervous because he thinks you're judging him harshly. He's nervous because he hopes you'll see the real him and still choose to stay. In a world where people often hide behind practiced charm or detached coolness, this raw, slightly shaky honesty feels rare and precious. Over time, as comfort grows, some of that nervous energy might soften into calm confidence. But even then, moments of it return unexpectedly, like when you share something deeply personal and he pauses before responding, worried his words won't be enough. Or when you show up looking beautiful in a way that catches him off guard, and for a second, his practiced smile turns into something shy and genuine. Nervous energy doesn't mask attraction, it reveals it. It's the heart's way of breaking through the mind's defenses, saying without words, "This matters to me more than I can fully express." And if you see it in someone, those small slips, the quick breath, the quiet laugh that seems to come from somewhere softer, know that behind it is a depth of feeling that even he might not fully understand yet. Because sometimes the truest signs of affection are the ones we don't mean to show, the nervous moments when our hearts speak before our minds can quiet them. Genuine listening and meaningful compliments show real interest because they go beyond the surface charm that anyone can offer when trying to impress. They reveal that someone isn't just drawn to your appearance or the momentary thrill of your company, but to the person you truly are underneath. Real listening is quiet, patient, and intentional. It doesn't rush to fill pauses or redirect the conversation back to itself. Instead, it leans in not just with ears, but with eyes, posture, and presence that says, "I'm here. I want to understand you, not just hear you." You can feel the difference instantly. A man who truly listens won't interrupt with assumptions or skip ahead to what he wants to say next. His questions come from genuine curiosity, not scripted politeness. He remembers the details you mention in passing: your favorite cafe, the book you're halfway through, the city you once dreamed of visiting. And when those details reappear days or weeks later, when he brings them up naturally, without forcing it, it's clear your words stayed with him, echoing quietly in his mind. This kind of listening isn't performed for effect, it's instinctive. His body language gives it away. Leaning slightly forward, head tilted, eyes steady on yours rather than darting around the room or checking a phone. Even his silences feel engaged, not empty, as though he's weighing your words, letting them sink in before answering. There's something disarming about being seen like this, fully and without distraction. It turns ordinary conversation into something richer, deeper, and more intimate. Meaningful compliments grow naturally from this attentive listening. Instead of the generic "you're beautiful" that anyone might say, he notices and values what makes you uniquely you. It might be your quick wit, the kindness you show to strangers, the passion you speak with when discussing something you care about. When he compliments your strength after hearing you talk about overcoming a challenge, or admires your creativity when you share an idea, it shows he isn't just listening to reply, he's listening to understand, and what he finds there truly moves him. These compliments feel different because they land deeper than surface praise. They aren't about what you can offer him, like attention, affection, or validation, but about what he genuinely admires in you, even if you never returned his feelings. They make you feel seen, valued, and respected, rather than merely desired, and that difference is where real interest lies. There's also a vulnerability in giving such compliments. It takes courage to say, "I see this about you, and I admire it." Especially when it goes beyond the safe, socially accepted comments. It means he's risking a piece of his own heart by revealing what touches him about you. In doing so, he shows you that your presence matters to him, not because of what it does for his ego, but because it genuinely inspires something in him. True listening and meaningful compliments create trust. They show that someone isn't only invested in the highlight moments, when you're laughing, telling stories, or feeling confident, but also in the quieter moments, when your words slow down and your guard comes down. He doesn't shy away from those moments. Instead, he leans in, showing patience and quiet support. In that presence, it becomes easier to open up, because you sense his interest isn't fleeting or shallow. Over time, this pattern of listening and thoughtful praise builds a deeper bond than grand gestures ever could. Flowers fade, rehearsed lines lose their shine, but the memory of someone really hearing you and seeing the parts of you that often go unnoticed lingers. It reminds you that love isn't just about what someone says when the mood is light. It's about how they stay attentive and present when the conversation gets real. Real interest reveals itself not in what someone says once, but in what they remember, repeat, and cherish long after the words have left your mouth. And when you find someone whose eyes don't glaze over when you speak of your hopes and fears, whose compliments reflect your spirit more than your surface, it's worth noticing. Because in a world of hurried attention and practiced charm, someone who truly listens and sincerely admires the unseen parts of you isn't just offering words. They're offering a place where you can finally be fully, unapologetically yourself, and know that it is enough. At the heart of it all, real attraction isn't measured by flashy gestures, practiced lines, or fleeting desire. It shows itself quietly, almost accidentally, in the playful teasing that invites you to laugh together, in the subtle mirroring that says, "I feel connected to you," and in the lingering eye contact that speaks what words can't capture. It reveals itself in the way someone drifts closer without thinking, in the nervous energy that betrays genuine care, and most of all, in the deep listening and thoughtful compliments that go beyond the surface to see who you truly are. These signs aren't about trying to impress, they're about trying to belong with you, to step into your world honestly and openly. They're the small confessions of interest that happen when the heart forgets to hide, when connection outweighs caution. And that's what matters most, not just that someone wants you, but that they see you, hear you, and value the real you behind the smile and words. In the end, what's worth holding onto isn't a spark that burns fast and fades, but the quiet consistency of someone whose attraction is matched by kindness, presence, and respect. Because real interest doesn't shout. It shows up, stays, and keeps choosing you not for a moment, but again and again. And that's the kind of attention that lasts long after first glances, turning desire into something deeper, something real.